All right. Yeah. So you're in sales.
Yes.
And you were going to ask a question while we were at break, but what is the question? So I just want to make sure we can answer it for everybody. Because in a group setting, your question, someone else will go, oh, yeah. Right? Let's talk about it.
I mean, I just wonder, how do you, it's, I don't know, how do you get the confidence to do it? How do you, it's about confidence, not just about taking the leap and not procrastinating, right?
So, okay. And so let's just get clear. So you said to me off stage, I love my job, but, and that's when I stopped you.
Yeah.
Right? So you love your job, but what?
But how my job gives me a title and a confidence and money and security. I don't think it sucks my soul.
Do you want to leave it? Did you come to the Practitioner MBA workshop to stay in your job?
I came to do my purpose and my passion.
Is your job your purpose right now?
Right now?
Uh-huh. No. Okay,
no.
Got it. Yeah, like anytime you're like, okay, so you want to leave.
I want to.
Okay, great. Now, we went from vague to a little bit more specific, and she's tightening up just as predicted. The more specific we get, the scarier it is. Now, we just met, but I guarantee you've thought about this once or twice or 100 times.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because here's the thing. One thing people don't realize is before people make a leap, there's a natural contemplation phase to contemplate the process. Now, that can last. I contemplate things for an hour, right? If it's a really hard decision, an hour and 1 minute, right? But typically, if you're contemplating for too long, that's when you get into a maladaptive sort of like coping procrastination phase. But to think about it, like, okay, I got to think about it. Now, how long have you been thinking about leaving?
Probably, I got some emails from you and it made me think about, the email said, so maybe just a couple of months.
Maybe a couple months?
Yes.
So is it my email's fault? Mastin, those emails you sent me made me think about quitting my job. Now, did they randomly show up in your inbox or did you invite them in?
I invited them in.
Oh,
for sure I invited them in.
When did you invite them in?
I invited them in because I saw something where it was a hobby is where you kind of just do it for fun. Mm-hmm. And a sale gets you past the hobby.
That's right.
And so
when was that?
And that was probably in January. So
okay, so 6
long.
Months almost.
Yes.
5 months, 6 months? Okay, let's call it 6. Let's round up.
Yeah.
So you've been thinking about it for at least 6 months. Now, were you thinking about it before then?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about, I've been doing for years.
Okay, so how long have you been thinking about it?
4 years.
4 years, which is probably more like 10. So at least 4, but maybe 10 to 20. Who knows, right? Like, I don't even know, right? Because maybe it was a dream as a kid. I don't know. Okay. So 4 years. And by the way, thanks for your honesty about that, okay? I'm messing with you, but in a good way. Okay, so now, what have you been thinking about starting for 4 years? Now, you mentioned you're in sales.
I am in sales.
Earlier. So is it a sales company? What is it?
No. So it's a idea that I have with my sister. So we had a bakery a few years ago that was called Two Sisters. But we have this idea that we're, two different sisters and we can present people with two different ideas. How does a rich single woman travel and how does a woman with 2 kids travel? So it's that idea.
Is it coaching?
It's not. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess it's kind of like, it is helping people because I think it's like, it gives you some perspective. We want to help people get a different perspective on how to do things because we have 2 very different perspectives. Uh-huh. And I think people could benefit from that if you see it. Okay, I got it.
So you think about starting more or less a coaching or advisory style business with your sister.
Yes.
Now you're making this face like...
Because it's not like, I know like, Tanya in the room is like legitimate wanting to coach people, like help life coach. Uh-huh. And I don't know that mine is like legitimate life coach. I think mine is more
Oh, life coaching is legitimate now. 5 seconds ago, it was like, oh my God, life coaching. But now it's legit. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So let's hang for a second on this. Okay. Now, have you thought about starting a business without your sister?
No.
Never thought about it?
No.
Never once?
No. The confidence.
No, I didn't say if you had confidence to do it. That's a different question. I'm asking if you've thought about starting a business on your own.
I haven't, because it's my no.
Okay. Now, with your sister, is she in a job or does she have a business already?
She's an artist.
So she has her own thing?
She has her own thing, yes.
Okay, great. Now, own thing over here, and then you have a job over here. Now, I'm going to guess that in the sisters, you're the rich white one and she's the not one. That's not the rich white one?
That was just an example. But
I know, but as an example, would you say that you're probably more financially well off than she is?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you probably want to support her?
I would need to, I would need to make sure that there was enough money for both of us.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, cool. Now, in the past, I'm going to zigzag a little bit. In the past, what would have to happen if you have confidence? What gives you confidence in the past?
The only time I was confident in the past was just overly knowing a subject.
So preparedness.
So yes.
Okay, great. And what would preparedness give you? What would be the outcome? Is it school? Is it closing a deal? Is it parental approval? Like, what's the payoff of being prepared for you in the past?
Well, it's in the past I've done a lot of schooling. Like I have.
So you get some A+.
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to scratch out the word confidence. I'm going to write a different word for you. Because confidence is actually something different than what we think it is. Some people, what we think confidence is like, I'm so confident, right? What if I wrote this word? Safe. Confidence is feeling safe doing what you're doing.
I am an accountant.
You're in what?
An accountant.
You're an accountant? I thought you were in sales.
Yeah, well, I sell accounting software.
What software?
Workday.
Okay, that's cool. I do QuickBooks Online myself, but don't mind me some Workday.
Yeah.
That's just because that's what my bookkeeper decided. So I'm like, whatever. Me and accounting get along like kind of like water and oil.
Yeah. So, that's it's a safe job. You're right.
So here's what you're really saying. How do I feel safe in danger? So I'm going to make a guess. Okay. My guess is that relationships matter a lot to you because in sales is very relational. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So if sales and relationships matter to you, what relationship, watch this, okay? If you think about starting a business, okay, what relationships for you would that threaten, perhaps? Who would no longer be in your life, or who may not approve, or who may be distant from you as a result?
Probably my family wouldn't like it, my grandparents, that type of thing, because it's not a safe thing.
So it doesn't feel safe to them.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're the ones who encourage you in the A+ stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal, okay? The reason why you haven't left is because you value relationship more than business, which is why you're great at sales. Mm-hmm. You tracking with me? Mm-hmm. Okay. And kill the mic just a little bit closer so we can hear you online. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. So here's the deal, okay? There's gonna be upset people if you decide to move forward.
Yes.
That's the price of entry. They won't always be upset. And they're not even upset. They're just worried for you.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a case where your certainty has to trump theirs. And you also have to surround yourself with people who you can be in proximity to. Because remember, one of the things, well, you didn't see the last workshop. So one of the things that's hard for people when they start to go on the entrepreneurial journey is they're distant or separated from either their family of origin or their relationships that keep them safe, because either they don't approve of it or they can't be around that anymore and build a business at the same time. Now, that's not always the case. You can definitely navigate both, but you have to set the people up in your life to support you. So when I first got started in my business, my mom wanted me to get a job. Normal. I was already successful in the music business, making lots of money, working with all the famous people, and then now I'm a blogger. And my parents are like, what the fuck, right? And every time I call home, which is regularly, my mom would ask me, when are you going to get a job? And I heard that as, I don't believe in you. That's never what she said, is how I heard it. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation with her and I said, listen, Ma, I love you. And every time you ask me, when am I going to get a job? What I hear is, you don't believe in this thing I'm doing. I'm moving forward in my business. I would rather live in a cardboard box on Venice Beach, bumming Starbucks or Coffee Bean Wi-Fi with my online business than go back to corporate. I cannot do it. I am unemployable. Okay? I can't do it. I cannot be at the whim of other people. What I need is for you to tell me you believe in me, whether or not you do. I need you to tell me that this is a good idea, whether or not you agree that this is a good idea. Because what I need right now is encouragement. And she goes, oh. And then from that moment forward, always encouragement. But I never asked for that until then. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Part of finding your voice, part of speaking up, is meeting your needs in a way that wasn't met in the past through your family caregivers because they didn't know how to. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to set your family up to encourage you in this new decision. And if they can't, you have to hang with the anxiety of that separation, because there will be separation anxiety if they don't support the decision. And it may be a wise idea to partner with her, because at least you'll be in proximity of one relationship that matters most to you. Right. And you're smiling as I say that. And that's why something like ROI in our program is so important, because there's a bunch of people in there. So you, on the spectrum of attachment, lean more in the anxious attachment spectrum, because people have anxious attachment. If you look at the data, the reason why they start businesses is typically for approval and to be liked. More or less. That's one of the primary motivators. So one of the reasons why they stop is because they're not being approved of or liked by people who matter most to them. Mm-hmm. So if you can know that going into it, then you can set yourself up to either have the family approve and give you the encouragement, have your sister approve and give the encouragement, and then be in a supportive tribe to give you that encouragement because you know you need it. Mm-hmm. Avoidance, don't give a fuck what other people think. And that's why avoidants tend to hang in business longer than anxious folk, because they're like just avoiding all that. I'm going to do it by myself anyway. Fuck all you guys. Mm-hmm. So you don't approve of me? Fuck you. You like me? Mm-hmm. Right? Avoidants are just like avoiding things all along, right? That's just how it is. They avoid, right? And so if you look at the data, there's a clinical study that came out a couple months ago about attachment theory and entrepreneurship. Anxious folk tend to start businesses for approval. Avoidants tend to start business for control. Right? And so the prediction for you is to set you up to win, you need to get relationships in your life that support you, because that is what will give you the confidence. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And you could even substitute the word confidence for approval.
Agreed.
Yeah. Right? So how do you get the approval? Be self-approved. And then ask for it and set people up to give that to you. Because most family members aren't dicks. They're not assholes. They're just concerned. But if they know you got it, if they sense insecurity in you, they'll worry more. But if you're like, hey, I got this, and you mean it, you got it. Mm-hmm. Now, you're good at sales. This won't be hard for you. The sales part, helping people, won't be hard. The hard part is breaking that family pattern. And you can't do that by yourself. Otherwise, you would have by now.
Yes.
So with that very limited amount of information that you've given me and the question that you asked, how accurate was that answer?
Extremely accurate.
Awesome. So what are you going to do with it then?
Not be safe.
Not be safe? Okay. Is that a question? Not be safe?
I guess move forward with my sister.
That's right. And have the conversation with your family and get into a supportive entrepreneurial environment like ROI. Like, I can't even tell you how important that is. The community, the mentorship, the leadership, the co-regulation that's available there is so valuable. Now, I know I'm biased. It's my thing. I got it. Okay. I created it because I wanted something like it. There is no other trauma attachment informed business program. That's why I created it, right? So everyone in there will love up on you. Here's the thing. When you log into that program in Slack or whatever, or you see the people on the calls, they're going to meet you with smiles. They're going to encourage the shit out of you, right? And they're going to need encouragement too. But co-regulation with support is the name of the game. So I'd highly encourage that. But you got to have the conversation with them, get them to support you, get her on board, and then you got to do that 3-month plan. So how much do you need per month to kind of get by?
I probably need 8,000 to 10,000.
So like, just call it 10. Okay. Now, you're going to be doing coaching. Yes?
I don't know what the name to call it is, but
Helping people virtually.
yes. Yes.
Okay. So helping people virtually. Another word for that is coaching, but don't let the semantics bother you.
Okay, I won't.
The definition. Let's say you could charge $250 per hour, okay, per session. Okay, that's 4 sessions per month is $1K. 3-month session, $3K. Okay, you need to sell like your person is like number is 4 per month. Okay, now here's a tip for you because you're coming from a high paying, sounds like a corporate job. So if you're in a high paying corporate job, here's another tip: become a consultant for a reduced rate for a short period of time. You're nodding your head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying yes.
Would your people go for that? Sales is consulting. I mean, it's kind of, it can be an independent. Are you an independent contractor now?
No.
So
I'm a corporate.
Yeah, so you can turn yourself into a W-9 independent contractor and advise and do. So let's just say that they give you even half, 5K. Okay? That means you just need 2 clients. And that's like, you can land softer on that.
Yeah.
Right? So what are you doing with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm running the numbers in my head as the accountant. I'm doing the debits and the credits.
But it's just 2 or 2. It's like 2.
Yeah.
Right? And if it's 7,500, it's 1. Right? So like, it's doable. What you have to work on is the nervous system response, because arriving here now, you have a whole history with your family of, this is what you got to do, sweetie. This. And now you're saying, nah, I'm doing this. And that's called reparenting and growing into the woman that you already are, but emotionally catching up with your dream, not being someone who your family is dictating who you are. That's a maturity process you're going through. And it's like really beautiful.
No, I agree. I mean,
you agree, or yes, you agree?
Yes, I agree. I do that a lot. I say no, but I mean, yes. Yes, I agree. I do have a family. Be an accountant, get that degree, go be in the corporate world. That is very safe.
We had a client, actually, she's on our page, Carolyn. On if you go and look at some of the case studies of our clients, we had a client, Carolyn, who was a
CPA.
So yeah, have you seen the story in North Carolina?
Yeah,
right. And she's
I read
crushing
every word of it.
Yeah, and I loved it too because I did this. And she's one of the longest interventions I ever did at like a live event. And at the very end, there's this like moment where she's like, I'm like, so why are you gonna quit your job? And she's like, I'm gonna show those how to do it, you know. And this thing right here, these like that, it became like the move, you know. Like, I'm gonna show them how to do it, you know. Like, I want some fucking ice cream. Like, this is like
right,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
no,
it's possible.
Yeah. I did read that story.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sure.
So, I mean, and Carolyn's, she's amazing. She's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, being a CPA is, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Beautiful. Let's go over here. Hey.
Okay.
And your name is?
It's
you guys. Hell yeah. So good. Lady and gentlemen.
First, I have a funny story. A couple of years ago, probably around August, before your book came out, Claim Your Power, I had you hooked up onto my TV screen, YouTube video. So,
Nice.
yeah, big TV in my room, which I don't usually have a TV in my room, but it was just in there because I had in-laws over or whatever. But anyway, long story short, I was watching you on the show, and somehow either I intentionally raised my hand or I mistakenly raised my hand, but had no confidence that I would be called or anything. And I got distracted. I was like, oh, I'm going to get some water or run to the kitchen, wherever I was going. As I was walking out of the room, I hear you saying, are you there?
That's funny.
It was so funny because I was just like, yeah. So I seen that as a sign during that time.
Oh, yes, I remember God telling me to pick on you to send you a sign. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, whoa, that's really like weird. So anyway, but I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah,
I
I'm
really
happy to
am.
be here too. Thanks for coming
And
back.
I thank you for just Tuesday when we talked. When I went home, I was actually in a whole different place, unexpected. I felt worse than I did when I first came. I was so full of fear and anxiety.
So from that nervous system process, right? Remember, there's like those 3 phases. This is bad drawing. So here we have ventral vagal, which is like safe, right? And social, right? Then we have the sympathetic, which is like anxiety and fear. And then we have dorsal vagal down here, which is like isolation and withdrawal.
Yeah.
So you were kind of here in terms of your business, not associated to it, kind of avoiding it, not really thinking about it. We got you associated with it, and now you're in sympathetic. So I just want to give you a context. That's what's supposed to happen.
Okay,
Yes.
it happened.
We took you from dorsal vagal to sympathetic.
And then I went back down.
Yes, normal. Also
Yeah,
normal.
I plunged. But
you're here still.
And somehow I thought, and I guess I misinterpreted, I thought that you said that Tuesday at 12 o'clock midnight would be the last time that I would have the opportunity to sign up.
Yeah, there was an email that went out that day that said that on there, and then we sent a correction email. I'm not too sure how that happened, but that's our bad.
So the next morning I was feeling down on myself for not joining and not acting, because when I first came on Tuesday, I intended to join, but then I felt the fear, and then I was like, and I was tired because I worked that day. So it was,
you
know,
you have a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I do. And I still have a lot going on, and I'm still very afraid. So, but I'm trying to not think.
Nice.
I'm just going to move forward.
Get rid of that prefrontal cortex action. Get in that limbic system for a little bit. That's really good.
Yeah. So my question is, one of the things that has stopped me is that I always feel like I have nothing to say as far as, having a message.
Okay, great. Now, just so you know, I can help you solve that quickly, but just based on how you show up here already, you have lots to say. You've been using your voice beautifully already, like last time and this time. So just so we're super clear, you've said a lot already.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So you've already proven it wrong, but let's now talk about why you feel that way. Okay. Now,
thank you.
I want to talk to you before I do. I'm going to give you a heads up because I already know this is probably going to happen. All right. When we start doing coaching around why does this behavior exist and how do I change it, I have to do some pattern hunting. Okay. I need to go figure out where the fuck that pattern is and what's going on. Now, the pattern hunt leads us into the unconscious. So into the body. Okay. Here's what happens. When I go pattern hunting and I start to talk to a part of you that's unconscious, oh, that's why I do that. All of a sudden, the conscious mind says, that makes no sense. And you negate that part of yourself. It happens all the fucking time. So it's like, which part of you am I going to talk to? I want to try to stay towards the pattern. Because what happens is, and a lot of practitioners don't catch this, you ask somebody a question that drops them into their unconscious or emotional body, that part of them answers, and then their own prefrontal or conscious mind negates it. Because that somatic or emotional wisdom doesn't make logical sense. It is not fucking logic, it's emotion. Emotion is not fucking logical. And it's young. Okay, usually it's a younger part of yourself. Okay, typically a part of yourself that doesn't feel safe to come out. Okay, now I'm not going to do a whole deep dive intervention, but I want to preface that so that we can see what happens as you come out. Okay, now what you're talking about is voice. something to say. That's about using your voice. What is it like to use your voice?
Well, when I'm alone, it's great, but in front of people or crowds, I feel more nervous.
Totally.
And
just so you know, the fear of public speaking is greater than the fear of death for human beings. Wow. Okay, so you're not abnormal in any way. You're totally normal. Okay. What about speaking like either truth to power or speaking up to people who maybe, like you may respect, like a parental figure, and like maybe think about it as talking back or using your voice and causing a disturbance or causing a fuss?
That's challenging.
Okay, cool. All right. So, a couple questions for you. When was it, or why was it safe for you not to speak up? Like, what was it about not speaking up in your childhood that meant that if I don't speak up, I'm safe?
I grew up in an abusive home.
Okay. Was it mom or dad?
It was my stepfather.
Okay. So where was dad?
I never met my biological father.
Okay. And how old were you when that started?
About 4 years old.
Okay. First of all, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Was it emotional? Was it physical? What kind of abuse?
Sexual,
Okay.
emotional, because I see my mom being abused and my siblings.
Her too. So the whole family. So he was kind of a monster.
Yeah, I later learned that he had emotional patterns in his past. He was a product of rape.
So that's
yeah,
so profound what you just said. So let me just say a couple things first and foremost, okay? Your resilience is amazing. Your journey is nothing short of heroic. What you've overcome to be here, functioning as you are in the job that you have, as far as you've come already, is like, that is an epic journey that needs to be celebrated. And I want you to know how important that is. It's a big fucking deal.
Thank you.
It's no small thing. And the other thing is, I don't know what that's like. I've never been there. So I can't empathize with you in the way that, I know what you've been through, but I've worked with a lot of survivors, and I can only imagine how hard that was. And to be here now, talking to a man about hard stuff, it just really shows how much growth you've had and how strong you are. And I just want to thank you for that and for being here and for trusting me. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
It means a lot. You're very welcome. So I don't need to get into details, but in terms of the abuse, was it a one-time thing or was it ongoing?
It was ongoing. Probably
for how long?
From
a year,
age, I would say 4 or 5 to 9 years old.
So about 6 years or so?
Yeah. Well, yeah, about 4 or 5 years.
Okay. About 5 years. Okay. And why did it stop?
Intervention BCW, or that's in New York, but the authorities came and pulled my family apart, put him in jail. My mom had mental illness anyway, so.
What was her diagnosis?
I'm assuming schizophrenia, because she did bizarre things when I was younger.
Was it schizo? Was it MPD? Was it schizoaffect? Was it dissociative identity? Do you know?
I don't know specifically, because I just remember her doing bizarre things. When I got into the field of mental health, I kind of put 2 and 2 together. But as a little girl, my mom was kissing the feet of my neighbor, and we got put out of our home because she said that God will save us, and bizarre stuff like that. So that's not
necessarily bizarre. That could be prophetic. Kissing feet is Jesus stuff. The Pope kisses feet.
She was hyper religious. Maybe that's the bizarre stuff I would say.
Hyper religious, what do you mean?
That like I said, kissing feet, and just from me as a child, it's my friend's mother. And of course, when you're little and your mom is doing odd things that other parents are not doing, it kind of, it's like something's not right.
Yeah. Did you feel that way, or did that seem normal to you at the time?
No, the kids said things to me about it. Yeah, so I felt bad.
Let me give you a little clarity into your mother's condition, just so you can understand a little bit more. Okay. If she's having children and then keeping a man around who's abusing her and them, okay, obviously there's tremendous trauma there.
Yeah.
And the reason why she was hyper religious is God. Was it God or Jesus or both?
I think it was Jesus.
Mostly, okay, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why she was hyper religious, and specifically around Jesus, is that was the only way she knew how to have a secure attachment with a man. he wouldn't hurt her. He was always there. And he wasn't there to disagree with her either. It's really easy to have a relationship with a dead dude or a guy who ascended already and is not there to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because he won't fight back.
It was safe. Right.
Super safe. So but just from a psychological perspective,
Yeah.
that's how she found her safety.
Wow.
And when I realized that, I was like, I'm never going to mess with someone's like construct of God unless they ask me, because it's too much certainty that I don't want to mess up. Like, who knows why they got to that point? Now I got a tattoo of a cross on my arm here. So I'm all about JC, right? Mm-hmm. But just to understand her attachment to that's probably why. And the idea of kissing feet is like to please, to, be someone who is kind of in that favor to remain secure in that attachment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And talk about resilience too. I mean, tremendous resilience. Okay. Now she should have gotten you out of there. Okay. So what happens now is if I'm at 4 or 5 years old, I'm being abused, I'm being immobilized, and I'm getting a message the person supposed to protect me is hurting me, which is very confusing. And I get what's called disorganized attachment as a result. Disorganized attachment is fear without an ability to change it.
Okay.
So where did you go? Did you go out of your body? Did you have friends' houses that you went to? Did you try to console people? Like what?
The third one.
Console people, which is probably why you're a nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. I was consoling to my mom, my siblings. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Were there times where you wanted to scream out and say, stop?
I don't remember being angry. I just knew that I couldn't say anything.
Because saying something is what?
It's going to hurt. It would hurt. I was afraid that it would hurt my mom if I mentioned anything.
There it is right there. Perfect. Okay. So my voice, watch this, okay? My voice equals hurt mom. I'm going to hurt my mom if I use my voice.
Yeah.
Now, when I say that, what happens in your body?
It's I'm feeling anxiety.
So we're right on the pattern. Now, if the way that you coped was to take care of her, the last thing you're going to want to do is hurt her.
Yeah.
Okay. So is she still with us?
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about her as if she is, because the part of you that's relating to her still is treating her as if she's still here in a physical form. Now, spiritually, I believe that they observe and watch and they're here and they're trying to guide us. And if someone crosses over and you're in that place of unconditional love, they want you to move beyond the pattern. That's kind of my take on things. Mm-hmm. But the part of the pattern that's corporal, human in the body is relating to her as if you're still a child. Okay. So I'm going to talk about her as if she's still alive.
Okay.
Using your voice won't kill your mother. Using your voice won't result in her being raped or hurt or abused like it would have back then. Like you're still protecting her.
Wow.
Now I can hear in your voice that that's resonating. Is that true?
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but yeah, it does.
Usually we don't. Oh, let me think about my unconscious pattern of childhood abuse and how I coped with it and who I protected and how that shows up into my voice now. That's not how most people are trained to think. And if they could, they couldn't see them themselves because we all have blind spots. I can't see my shit. Can't. Right?
Yeah.
So voice means you hurt mom. Voice now means you honor mom.
Wow, I like that.
Now, I have to ask another question, okay? And I do this out of a lot of respect. I want to have a brief conversation about race. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine.
Because I'm a white guy, and last I checked, you're not white.
I didn't notice.
Yeah. Okay. So I have no idea what racism feels like or what that. I grew up with white privilege. I was so privileged, I didn't even know I had it. I had to be educated. And someone's like, Mastin, you have white privilege. I go, what the fuck? What are you talking about, white privilege? What does white privilege even mean? What's white male privilege, right? Now you're laughing because you know, and I know now, but I had to be educated because I was so privileged, I didn't know. I didn't know that, like, for example, Iyanla Van Zant, who's a African-American coach on the OWN network, Friends with Oprah. I was talking to her manager many years ago. And to this, I don't even know if it's true, but back then, just a couple of years ago, she flies first class. Sometimes they go, oh, man, I'm sorry. The coach is back there.
Wow.
That's what I said. I was like, that happens? I roll into maybe she's even dressed nice. I roll up in first class disheveled. I do not travel fancy. Nobody ever questions me. Ever. right? That's a small example, okay? However, when you start thinking about using your voice to protect your mother in an environment where there is racism, where the message of the environment is the voice of the marginalized person, a marginalized African-American female, certainly is nowhere near as significant as, say, a white male. So not only are you getting a message at home that my voice is silenced, but the environment is showing us that too. And I mean, you just go look at, I mean, how many names do I have to name? Trayvon Martin, I go down the list of African-Americans who have in some version spoken up, using their voice, caused a disturbance, and then paid with their life. I've never driven down the street, had a cop come up to me and pull me over and be feared for my life. Never had that happen. I've never had that experience before. So what I'm trying to find, but I'm saying that because I want to just acknowledge what's in the room. Okay. And I want to move beyond the color of our skin to have a coaching conversation and a therapeutic outcome for you.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And you can say, stop talking anytime you want because you're in control. All right. Now, if my voice isn't being used at home because I don't want to hurt my mom, what has society told you about your voice as an African-American woman?
It's not heard, not important.
So it's unimportant. Okay, perfect. So now here's why I'm saying this, okay? This is like so huge, okay? Not only would my voice hurt my mother, even if I fucking used it, no one would listen.
Wow.
Now you're shaking your head in a yes format. How come?
Because that's kind of what I've lived under the people won't listen or for a long time, that phrase itself, that people won't listen. Yeah, that's
right.
Pretty much it.
And let me tell you something, okay? That's true. Some people won't. That's true. And it's certainly true that they didn't in the past, okay? However, it's also true that some and more will. Now, it's a different day and age, okay? When we talk about political unrest in this country, what you're witnessing is the white patriarchy freaking the fuck out, knowing they're losing power. The Congress, the Senate, the presidency looks nothing like America. It looks like how America used to be, right? You look at the 2018 elections, so much diversity, Republican and Democrat, right? You see like, and what's even crazier is if you look at the outcome of the Barack Obama presidency, America, here's what the two past elections taught us. America would rather have an African-American male president than a female president. So the odds are double stacked against you in terms of society and how it used to be. Because first of all, I'm a minority. Second of all, I'm a woman. Nothing. But it's a different day, right? So what's awesome about what you're doing right now, and I'm going to give you the idea, but then it's up to you to run with it, okay? Because you can do things with this idea that I could never do, okay? You're in a position to become a transitional character. And a transitional character is someone who in one generation stops the generational trauma of their lineage. Okay, so on like the white guy version of that is stop being a dick, stop telling women what to do with their bodies, stop telling people that they can't because of the color of their skin, like knock that shit off. Stop it.
Gotcha.
That's my job as a white guy, okay?
Right.
Your job as someone who has been marginalized for a long period of time is to say, I'm going to honor everyone who came before me and I'm going to use my fucking voice. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to cause a mess. But take a page out of MLK's book, not Malcolm X's book, and do it with a vision for everybody and make it about literally like an inspirational, harness the anger in a way that inspires people.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Malcolm X's way of just angering people and dividing people. Right?
I don't like that image.
And the truth is, like, if you look at the future, okay, America is becoming more and more diverse in terms of skin color. Pretty soon, people like me will be the minority. Okay, which I'm whatever, cool, I don't care. But the power structures that are in place because of people like me are going to take some time to shift. And that's why you're seeing this struggle back and forth right now. Because on the one side, the marginalized side is saying, we're fucking done. And the people who have been in power are saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to have any power. I'm going to fight tooth and nail. Right. And like, for me, I don't give a shit. I just want to help people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So I'm having a
middle.
conversation you soul to soul, not color to color.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
feel it.
You feel that, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because this is like tricky ground for someone like me to navigate, right? It's like, it's very nuanced. Okay. And people like me need to listen more. The difference is I just have 10,000 hours of trauma coaching. So like I've just dealt with this so many times. So your opportunity here is to realize the most important thing you can do is to use your voice. There will be people who will listen and who will be inspired, and it will honor your mother because you are continuing to become a transitional character. You already are one in terms of like, you're not passing on your trauma in terms of what happened to you in your childhood. This is another level. And I think the environment right now is ripe for someone just like you to emerge and use your voice. And there are so many people who will celebrate that. And I'll give you one last tip, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So in the conversation, Trump has always talked about his base in terms of that type of stuff, right? So here's the deal, okay? Does Trump have a base? Yes. But there's a bigger base called people who are liberal, people who are progressive, people who care about humanity and rights, right?
Yeah.
And this is not Republican, Democrat,
Right.
okay? It's literally like racism, misogyny, and bigotry versus like humans. That's
Mhm.
all it is, okay?
Yeah.
The human category is way bigger, okay? Just look at the popular vote outcome. The way to move forward is to ignore those who are racist and bigots and focus on the people who really need help, which gets back to the 3 stages.
Mm-hmm.
Find someone who needs help and help them, right? Democrats, liberals, people who care about Roe v. Wade, that type of stuff, got to stop focusing on the people who are bringing us backwards. And we have to start focusing on helping people who can move us forwards.
Wow.
That's the goal.
Wow.
That's how you end the cycle. Now, Republicans want to move forward too. Democrats want to move forward too. White people do, black people do, Hispanics do, yellow, red, whatever. But there's the bigots and the xenophobes who we got to drag with us because we're all one big family. But we're not going to let them lead because they're the most hurt of all.
Yes.
Now,
Mhm.
that hurt doesn't justify their behavior
Exactly.
at all. Like white guys who are privileged should not be telling women what to do with their bodies. Okay. And the thing is, whenever there's a rule made about what women can do, marginalized women suffer more than white women. They just do.
Mm.
Right. So like, it's like, don't get me started. Okay. But what I'm talking about is trauma, not politics. I'm talking about using your voice. I'm talking about the system, the environment that you grew up in, which is very different than what I experienced, and how to change it. And it's changing faster and faster because people say, how could this be? Well, one reason is because there's hurt people still hurting people. The other reason is the people who are the antibodies, which I include you in that category, need to speak up and not back down.
Wow.
So what are you doing with what I'm saying right now?
I am embracing it. I'm embracing it. I'm ready. I've been silent for a long time. I have a 50th birthday, so I'm half a century. I'll be half
You're
a century.
half a century?
old.
What?
Yes.
Girl, you look good.
So-
I wish I could look as good as you at 50. Dang, girl.
Black don't crack. No, I'm
That's
just
true.
joking.
You said it, not me.
They always hear people say that. But yeah, so I'm just at a point now where, if not now, then when?
That's right.
And I've been in pain a long time.
Yeah,
for not.
and there's a good reason. Like the world, like literally. I mean, we say it all the time, but literally, the world needs it right now.
Yeah.
Like we need African American female role models to say it stops with me. I can bring the idea forward, but you're gonna have to do it because there's a part like I get to be like a little bit on the sidelines of this conversation in terms of like I can't sit there and go, yo, we've been marginalized for so long. I can't do that, right? I can't speak from that authority, but I can say human to human. Okay, here's the truth about me. Here's the truth about you. Here's what we can do. Here's the vision. And then I'll champion, I'll support, I'll love, I'll grow up on it, but I can't speak with the same authority that you can about it because I don't have that. I never will.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I'm not going to release my DNA test that says I'm 0.0001% Nigerian like every other person in the world. Right? Like what Elizabeth Warren did that with like being a Cherokee or whatever. It's like, come on. Someone who was Cherokee sneezed on your mom or something. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you don't get to claim it, right? So, but this is the opportunity. And when I thought about like, okay, how do I handle and talk about this type of conversation, especially address white privilege? First, own it. But second, privilege isn't bad. It's how you use it that's bad.
Yes.
Privileged people help people who are not privileged have better lives. That's why someone who's lots of money donates to charity. That's a financial privilege, right?
Yes.
So I grew up in a world where I could think about something and achieve it. People never said I couldn't. And I don't fear for my life generally, right?
Yeah.
So like, should I like fear for my life now? No. I want to say, hey guys, let's create this together. Because I can bring that felt experience. The other thing I talked about in my TED Talk was like trauma diversity and like how different racial groups or groups of individuals cope with trauma. It's different. So like how the African American community has coped with trauma over the years, very different than how, say, the Hispanic community has coped versus the female community only versus the male community versus the white male. Coming together and being able to have that conversation is such a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It would be amazing.
Yes.
And I'll give you the example that made me realize this, right? So, a couple years ago, Oprah invited me and about 1,000 other people, okay, to her house for the release of a book called The Wisdom of Sundays. And I had a couple quotes in there from a Super Soul Sunday thing. And I had a couple quotes in there. It was like pretty cool. So I was invited and a bunch of people. Now, the way she celebrated was she had like a gospel brunch, right? With like a gospel. I had never heard of any such thing. I'm like in my 30s, well into my 30s, never heard of it, right? I'm sitting there like, and I love music. I dance and shit. I'm like one of the only white people moving in the crowd. I'm just like this, like, oh my God, this is awesome. Commons up there singing. They got choirs and shit. I'm like, yeah. And eventually a couple songs in, people start moving. But I was like, I could have been doing this my whole life on Sundays. What the I have missed out. I have missed out, right? Like, and now I live in North Carolina. There's a Baptist church around here somewhere I can get to, right? But I didn't know. And that's like one example. Community, co-regulation, singing, that's coping. Spirit,
yeah,
that's what that is. I can benefit from that, right? That conversation is a deeper, nuanced conversation. And I will say, speaking from the white perspective, it's scary to talk about it because, like, we don't know how to. And a lot of people don't even know they have privilege. And so being welcomed into that community, I was like, oh, I'm welcome here too. I didn't even think it was okay for me to do this, like just kind of rock. I was like, am I like allowed to as a white person? Like that's what's going through my head.
Wow.
I don't say it, but I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
So like that connection is so important. It's so important. So that trauma diversity, coping diversity conversation, creating bridges and gaps and connections, so important. It's hard. Right?
Yeah.
It's so difficult. So I'm obviously really I don't get to talk about this very often, so I'm using the opportunity to do it.
That's good.
But I just want to, I'm saying all this because I'm trying to create a context for you where you can go, yeah, my voice is needed right now because you can help me and so many other people understand things that I can't.
Yeah.
Like it took a black person to come to me and say, Mastin, you have white privilege. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? And my friend Latham, she educated me. I'm like, oh, that's a thing? What is it? And then I went deep on like, oh my God, the thing. Oh my God, I had no idea. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So like, and it wasn't like, and you're an asshole. Right? It was like, oh, and then I needed to figure out how to talk about it. And there's also so many, specifically African-American women who need role models of speaking up, role models of claiming their power, role models of being a transitional character. Because, yeah, we have some, but we need more.
Need more, yeah.
So you're smiling. What are you doing with what I'm saying? I'm so curious.
I'm excited. I feel empowered. I guess I didn't need permission, but it feels like I'm being granted permission.
Yeah, well,
but
look, you needed permission from her, from your mom. And society, maybe, but it's really right here.
Mom.
Like, it's good motives.
Yeah, it is. She'd be glad.
Yeah. If you believe that type of thing, she's probably like right here going, girl, come on.
I do believe that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do now then?
Coach my first client.
Nice. Awesome.
I'm excited. I'm going to move forward.
Awesome.
I'm going to move forward. Don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm ready for the ride.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation with me. It's an honor. And I think everyone watching also gets to learn, because this type of a conversation is not one that's usually had. Usually you see like someone breaching the race conversation. Like, oh, we got to like, someone's going to, end up viral and not in a good way, So I'm really grateful, because these types of conversations and connections are so, so healing.
And my belief is that we're all one.
That's right.
We need each other. We weren't born alone.
That's right.
Yeah,
100%.
and all the diversity of colors and experiences. We all have something that we can bring to the table that helps someone else.
That's right.
Period. I mean, whether it's healing, if it's a chair, if it's a TV. I mean, these cell phones. I mean, it doesn't matter whose color or what race or what sex or what any of those. It's the spirit within us that is most important.
That's right. That's right. And it's your voice that gets to spread that message.
Yay! No,
awesome. So good. Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Seriously.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm going to give you a hug. So good.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I think okay, cool. Yeah. You're like, follow up with that one. Good luck. No, I'm happy to answer it. It's just hard to come after that one.
Yeah, mine's not quite as deep.
No problem. It's all good.
All right. So my question is, I guess with teamwork. So I was
yes.
Yeah, teamwork. So I was watching your, the slides, and it said you can't do it alone.
That's right.
So in my head, I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Yeah, I know it's a hindrance. It's one of those hurdles in my business as well, my current business, which I own a martial arts school. My brother,
that's right,
helps teach with me, but I don't do the team thing too hot. And I mean, I've
Is he younger?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have identified why.
Oh, you have? How come?
I have.
How come?
So, I came from a single parent home. I'm my mom's only child.
Single mother.
Yeah. I'm my mom's only child. I was a latchkey kid.
What's that mean?
After school, staying home by yourself till your mom gets home.
Oh, I see.
I
got you.
So I was a latchkey kid. I don't do team sports. I don't watch football, basketball. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm more, single sport type of thing. Martial arts, boxing, tennis, stuff like that. So, I don't do the team thing too hot. And I know it's something that I need to, overcome to get to that next level. My current business, and if I'm going to do the coaching as well.
Yeah. How far apart are you and your brother?
My brother is 12 years younger than me.
Oh my God. And is it just you two?
No, I have a younger sister as well. I have two younger sisters.
Okay, so there's you.
And
so
I have an
sis
older
one
brother
is
as
how
well.
much younger than you?
She is 9 years younger.
Okay, so sis 2 is how much younger?
Ooh,
10?
man.
11?
15. The youngest one is 15 years younger.
Okay, and then the brother's here.
Right, and then I have an older brother.
So brother is how much younger than you? 12? Oh, your brother is how much older than you?
8 months.
Okay, so like 8 months. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay.
My mom's only child.
Yeah, I got you. And where was dad?
My dad was in the picture. My parents divorced when I was 3.
So what happened? Who?
That's from my dad's second marriage, and they're still married to this day.
Okay, got you. But you and your bro. So these are your half siblings.
Half siblings. Yeah,
I got you.
And
your,
even
and your
my
half
older
brother is the one helping you.
Right. Correct.
I got you. Okay. Where's he? Your older brother.
We don't really communicate that much. He's around, but we really don't communicate that much.
How come?
Who? We saw each other
until we got into this
shit. We saw each other, on the weekends and stuff when we were kids, and then after school we gravitated to, once we graduated, we kind of gravitated towards each other for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother was in the streets selling drugs, going in and out of jail, and it just was not something I wanted to do,
So he wasn't really there.
No.
And your father wasn't really there.
No, my pops was always there.
He was always there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But until when did they divorce?
When I was 3.
So he was there until you were 3.
Yeah.
Was he there after 3?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he still stayed in the picture.
Yeah, he's still in the picture. Yeah.
Okay.
I see him
okay.
3 times a week. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Because he brings my niece and my nephew to karate.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you for that. So I'm going to tell you what I see.
Okay.
And you're going to tell me if I'm going the right direction.
That's what I was hoping.
Okay. Who took care of your mom?
Nobody. My mom took care of herself.
Did you guys have a connection?
Yeah. I left my mom's house to come here.
Yeah. So still to this day.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys have a pact a little bit?
Yeah, we do.
Like we're us against the world, kind of.
Yeah, I could say that.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very supportive.
And so she's on her own though, kind of.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, she's in a relationship now.
No,
because the second marriage.
No,
they're still together. You said
my dad is in the second marriage.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let me get a family constellation chart here.
Okay.
So you, father, mother, second marriage is stepfather.
No. My stepmother is a second marriage. So my dad is remarried.
Okay. So stepmother. Got it. Mm-hmm. And so these are from your father.
Yes.
Yes. Even better.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm my mom's only child.
There it is. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So are you in a relationship?
Yes. I got married a year and a half ago.
And how is your partner relating to your mother?
Great.
How do they get along?
Great.
Tell me about it.
They talk every day. You know. Yeah, they talk every day. They talk to my wife talks to my mother probably more than I do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. Did your wife have a mother?
Yes.
Are they good?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I got to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I got to check.
Okay.
Who's number one? Your wife or your mom?
Man, that's...
Okay, your mom. Okay, got it.
I know it's supposed to be my wife, but...
It's your mom. Okay. No, it's all good. It's okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty. I get it. Okay. So, when I first started seeing my partner, Jenna, like many years ago, like first year or so, I'd like walk out of the movie theater. We just saw a movie and Jenna's going to naturally want to talk about it. Hey, Mom, let me talk about the movie I saw. It was amazing, right? Like, I'm not saying you're doing that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what happens as you step into manhood is your mom becomes number two.
You know what? Another thing I forgot to mention, that I'm naturally an introvert. So that's another
Is your mom an introvert?
No.
Does she talk a lot?
No, she doesn't talk. My wife, oh, my God. But she
your mom doesn't talk a lot?
No, my mother doesn't talk a whole lot.
So she's more introverted.
Yeah, she's more introverted. But
okay.
Yeah.
So here's what. Okay.
My wife
this makes so much.
Serious extrovert.
Your wife is?
Yeah, my wife is an extrovert.
Yeah. Okay. So you basically became your mother's rock.
Okay.
You became her son, and not sexually, but emotionally, her husband.
Okay.
Because no one was there for her.
Right.
And the rest of these fuckers came a long time later.
Right.
So there's a lot of time passing before they come into the picture.
Right.
And I could imagine you being kind of a patriarch in some ways to these guys.
I am.
Like a father type figure.
I am. Even though I have an older brother, they still look at me.
But he's not. But you don't take him seriously though.
No, no, none of us do.
Someone had to be the man.
Yeah.
And you're the man.
Yeah, yeah.
You're so much of the man.
As the oldest brother.
You're so much of the man that you could protect them all too.
Yeah.
I would not there's some guys that like when I coach them, I'll joke around, maybe start fighting them a little bit just for fun. I would never touch them.
Right.
I'm even gonna try.
Right.
Okay, with you. Okay.
Right.
And so what you have here is sort of a patriarchal position, meaning like a fatherly. Now, patriarchy isn't bad. It's like, misogynistic, privileged patriarchy, the problem.
Right.
But you're kind of the patriarch of the family.
Okay.
And the way that you identify with your mother is you kind of ride solo together.
Yeah.
So getting a team breaks that pattern.
I would agree. Even when I get around my siblings, there are times like when I'm with my dad, my stepmom, and my brothers and sisters that, they have, since they grew up in the house together, they have these, they nuances, inside jokes.
Totally.
So I still, in some ways, I'll feel like an outsider at certain times.
But also a special relationship with your mother that they don't have.
Correct.
Like they don't get it.
Right.
We get it.
Right.
So to grow a team, okay, I'm speaking metaphorically, not literally.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna make like a happy face right now.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna say some crazy shit. Okay. To start a team, you gotta kill your mom.
Okay.
But not literally. Okay.
Right.
Now, why are you laughing?
Because you said you was gonna say something crazy.
Yeah, I know, but I don't mean it literally.
I know what you mean.
Okay. Don't go home and like choke her or something. Right. I know you would never do that. Okay. But I'm just, and for the audio, people listening later, I'm smiling as I'm saying this. It's not like, an intense conversation.
Right.
But here's the thing, okay? Mom, solo.
Okay.
And this that's your girl. That's who you love. You got her back no matter what.
Right.
Right? So what you learned is how to be solo.
Okay.
So you don't actually have the development yet of how to have a team. Because there's a part of you that doesn't trust it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Right?
I don't trust it.
That's right. And so that's the work, okay, is giving your nervous system proof that you can trust the team.
Oh,
and
right.
it's gonna have to shatter that pattern.
Okay. All right. So I did a male mentoring boot camp probably like 2 months ago.
Cool.
And those where I kind of identified those things. And one of the things I learned is not that I have trust issues. I've just trusted the wrong people over in the past, and it's come back to bite me. So now
you don't have, so it's that you don't know how to.
Right.
Okay. So in the trauma-informed approach, it's not I won't do it. It's I can't, which is hard to admit. Right. You look at someone like they won't call me back. They don't know how to. Right. They don't know. It's bad behavior. You don't know how you build a team. I don't know how to build a team.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So that's just, I don't know how. I don't have the development there. Like,
Right.
I don't know how to throw a punch.
Right.
Like if I tried to come at you and hit you, I'd probably break my finger or something because I punched wrong.
Right.
And I probably wouldn't have as much power because I didn't punch from the Don end or whatever. I don't know. Right. So like, I just don't know how.
Right.
Okay. So you can learn how. Okay.
Yeah. I've tried to learn how, and it's still
but here's
like,
here's the fuck of it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Here's the hard part. Okay. Learning how to trust a team means you're gonna have to break up some of the patterns with your mother.
Okay.
Because she doesn't trust a team.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk to the nervous system right now. Okay. Having a team does not mean that you're gonna abandon your mother.
Okay.
Now, when I say that, what happens in your body?
I don't know. That's kind of a weird statement.
It is a weird statement.
Yeah.
But it's not for your prefrontal, it's for your somatic.
Okay.
Having a team does not mean you're going to abandon her.
Right.
Different rules. The things that she said are cool to do don't work here.
Right.
Relying on them, having other close relationships, even if it's professional, won't take you away from her.
Right.
Because human beings, we're designed to have a few special people in our lives.
Right.
Both in like a personal relationship and a business relationship.
Right.
I'll give you an example, okay? Me and Jenna, my partner, rock solid connection, okay? Now, Kate, who works with us, I have great rapport with her. Dylan, who works with us, great rapport. We're great buddies.
Right.
Okay? Dylan's special to me. Kate is special. Jenna's special.
Right.
Okay? But just because I have good relationships with part of our team, which is necessary to have a successful team, right, doesn't take away from what Jenna and I have.
Understood.
It's completely different, all right?
Right.
But if all I knew for however long was I have one special relationship.
Right. Okay.
So what are you doing with what I'm saying right now?
I'm thinking about, I guess, special relationships outside of my mother. Like I would say my karate instructor. Besides my father, like me and my father are really close. But my karate instructor, I've been with him since I was 10 years old.
Your mentor.
Yes.
So he was like a father figure to you.
Absolutely.
That's right. And here's the part of it, okay? Beautiful. And when you have a team, you're relying on them for things that are kind of vulnerable. It's like relying on a team is like having your heart cut open and they're pumping your heart for you.
Yeah.
Don't f that up. I'll kill you if you f that up if you don't kill me first.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And that's not something you just go, oh, anybody, hey, you, come on in. You got to choose wisely. And here's the goal, okay? You want to make sure you hire the right people, okay? But you fire the right people, the wrong people, fast. Because you can't get it all right moving in.
Okay.
But you do want to start to do it. Now, here's the thing, okay? If you have support for a team, you can be there more for your partner, be there more for your mother, be there more for the people who matter most in your life.
That's what I want. I mean,
that's right. But you have to learn how to trust people.
Right.
With the hard stuff.
Okay.
You can probably trust somebody like a valet person to park your car.
Right.
Whatever. Right.
Right.
Trust me to talk to you right now.
Right.
But when like you got to count on someone to got your back. Woo.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When you look at like how they train, I'm going to go sort of into the, sort of physical intensity world for a second. Okay. You look at how they train, like say Navy SEALs or Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, okay. Fight for your country. They teach you that. But like, if you have a small unit of like 5 guys, you're fighting for each other, and they bond small unit training so that these guys are super connected, super tight.
Right. And
then they can now trust each other, count on each other, to rely on each other for hard stuff, to have your back in a firefight.
Right.
Right. My father was in the Vietnam War on helicopters being a medic.
Right.
He's got to know if he's trying to load a guy in over here, the guy behind him is shooting down the over there, so he's going to get shot in the back.
Right.
He needs to know with total certainty that guy's there.
Right.
You got to really trust somebody like that.
Right.
Right. And the teams are very similar. Right. So you got to learn how to let people in. Part of what we do is we teach systems and team in the program, but this all alone should be very clarifying for you.
It is. It is. Even with my brother, he's at the school right now teaching, but yeah, certain stuff I just cannot trust.
Yeah, you're like, I told you to whatever, and you didn't do it again, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of history there.
Right.
But here's the thing, okay? And this is the good news for everybody. Your team won't treat you like your family of origin did. You can bring in new people, but that's a part of healing that attachment, that avoidance style, is how to learn how to create secure attachment in your business.
Okay.
That's a process. It doesn't just happen.
Right.
Does that make sense? You're a white belt at that.
It does. One of the reasons I was looking into the coach, I was like, this is something I can do on my own. Then you said,
it is. It is. No, but it is. Look, you can coach on your own probably to about maybe $100K a year.
Okay.
Okay. But here's the only downside.
Right.
If you stop, the business stops. So you don't have a business, you have a job.
Yeah, that's true.
So support is the name of the game. If you've never had it, it's a journey to learn how to have it.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, hire that person, put up a job description. It's healing the attachment part.
Exactly.
And hot tip for you,
mm-hmm.
when you have avoidant attachment style and you start counting on people, you're going to start to get in touch with the anxiety. This motherfucker bring this up.
Yeah. That's every week.
Yeah.
With me.
So we have some people on our team that we just kind of went deeper with in a relationship on the marketing side. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm so used to people not being there on the marketing side for me that we've hired in the past.
Right.
So like, I'll be like, oh, where's this? And they're like, Mastin, it's right here. I'm not used to someone being there for me in that way yet. So every time they're there for me, I'm surprised. I'm like, ah, and it's all, but my nervous system still doesn't quite believe it yet.
Yeah.
Right. But more and more data will get there. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's what support's all about. That's what ROI is all about, is like building that proof for the nervous system so that you know how to do it, not theoretically, but in practice.
Right.
Throw those punches consistently to get that down.
Gotcha.
So is that helpful?
Very.
Awesome. Beautiful. Cool, man.